So what I want to tell you in this sentence is that this specific sentence is completely ungrammatical in English. It is not acceptable. However, these two sentences that we already saw, these ones, are grammatical and they mean the same thing, although some words are not in the same position. But it doesn't mean, okay, that any random of words is acceptable. That is also what is the realm of syntax. So keep in mind that we are having an interfacer, we are interacting with the semantics, but syntax is not about the meaning. The discussion of meaning, as I told you some minutes ago, is that semantics is the subfield of linguistics that has to do specifically with the meaning of sentences. In syntax, we only study how the words are organized in a given sentence. So syntax also explains why these two previous sentences that we saw mean the same thing, although the words are arranged differently. So the sequences that conform to the rules of syntax are referred to as well-formed, grammatically acceptable, or grammatical. But if those sequences do not conform to those rules, they will be ill-formed. Okay, this is a concept that you should know: ill-formed, grammatically unacceptable, or ungrammatical. So this is important. So every sentence is a sequence of words, but every sentence of words, listen carefully, is not a sentence. I'm going to repeat that. Every sentence is a sequence of words, but every sequence of words is not necessarily a sentence. Okay? Let's see this example here. Colorless green ideas sleep furiously. Sometimes a sentence may be grammatical, as you can see in this sentence, but may not be meaningful. Why is it nonsensical? Will be explained in the realm of semantics, but this sentence is grammatically well formed. Okay, grammatically it is well formed, but it is meaningless. It doesn't mean anything in English because, as you can read it, colorless green ideas sleep furiously. Can ideas sleep? Green ideas? Do ideas have colors? And they are colorless at the same time? So it doesn't mean anything, although it is grammatically correct. And now we are going to study the syntactic categories, okay? We're going to use lexical categories. In this case, we have a list here. Noun, you know that the N means noun from now on, okay? Verb, V. Adjective, A. Preposition, P. An adverb, A, the, V, okay? And here we have some examples of nouns: moisture, policy, melt is a verb, remain a verb, adjective, good, intelligent. So these are concepts that you should already know, okay? And we have also non-lexical categories. We have determiners, degree words, qualifier, auxiliary, conjunction. And here we have some examples. You know, determiners, we have articles, we have determiners, and we have degree words. For example, very, more, always is a qualifier, and perhaps a qualifier. Auxiliary, we have will, can, would, might, should, remember that. Conjunctions, we have and, or, and these are phrase structures. We have rules in syntax about what word classes can pattern together in phrases. So NP stands for noun phrase, okay? A noun phrase can be compound by a determiner plus a noun in this case. But the parenthesis means that the determiner is optional, okay? Wherever you see a parenthesis, that means that that category is optional. This means that the noun phrases can be made up of determiners, and nouns determiners are optional, as I told you, okay? The girl, Ayesha, these are noun phrases. Both of these are noun phrases. They each contain a noun. So logically, if it is a noun phrase, it must contain a noun. And the first also has a determiner. This is a determiner in this case, the girl. So let's continue. Now we are going to see the noun phrase rule. Okay, first, determiner means determiner. You know that DET means determiner. Okay, and this involves function words like the, this, several, and many others. Okay, noun phrase, as I told you, can be compounded by a determiner, an optional determiner, plus a noun. That means a noun phrase can have a determiner, and it must have a noun. So here we have this group of letters, okay? This S stands for sentence. Sentence is compounded by a noun phrase plus a verb phrase. We're going to see that later too. And a verb phrase, okay, a verb phrase is compounded by a verb and a noun phrase. And a noun phrase is compounded by a determiner, an optional determiner, an optional adjective, plus a noun. It is obligatory, it is mandatory, it must have a noun. If it is a noun phrase, it must have a noun. Here we have the different phrases that we have in syntax. Remember that we are only introducing syntax. Syntax is a very ample field. It's a very complex field. We are only seeing the surface, only the surface, for you to continue studying more about this interesting field. And okay, noun phrase NP means noun phrase. Here we have some examples: the car, a clever student. These are noun phrases. Verb phrase VP, verb phrase: study hard, play the guitar, dance, okay, call my mother, write a paragraph. Those are verb phrases. PP means prepositional phrase. Prepositional phrase. And what is the head? What is the head of a prepositional phrase? The head of a prepositional phrase is, of course, a preposition. In this case, in the class. Okay, the head here is in, above the earth. What is the head here? Above. Okay, students, this is a very important concept. The head of a noun phrase is a noun. The head of a verb phrase is a verb. And the head of a prepositional phrase is a preposition. Okay, here we have adjective phrases. Adjective phrase: very tall, quiet, certain. Okay, the head of an adjective phrase is an adjective. And we also have adverb phrase: quiet, happily. Quiet, happily. So the head of an adverb phrase is an adverb. Okay, students, from now on you should know these letters and the meaning, okay, of each of them. NP, noun phrase; VP, verb phrase; PP, prepositional phrase; AP, adjective phrase; and ADVP, adverb phrase. This is very important. Okay, students, now we are going to see diagram trees, okay, just like we saw in morphology, but in this case we are going to see we are going to draw diagrams for phrases and sentences at sentence level. Here we have, okay, the NP. Remember the formula, okay? NP that, which means determiner, NPP. Remember, the parenthesis means optional. It is optional. The determiner is optional, and also the PP, the prepositional phrase, is optional in this case. We only need a noun because it is a noun phrase. It must have a noun. And here we have the PP, which is prepositional phrase, compound by a P and NP, which is a noun phrase. Here we have the noun phrase, the bus, okay? It is a noun phrase, and it is compounded by a determiner, which is the, and a noun, which is bus. So we have to draw it in this way, the diagram 3, okay? You draw the line here, determiner, another line here for bus, which is a noun, and we have the NP here. NP, determiner, noun, the determiner is the, and the noun is bus, okay? And look at this. In this case, we have another noun phrase, but in this case, we have also what? A PP, which is a prepositional phrase, in the yard. In the yard is a prepositional phrase. The bus in the yard. NP. It is an NP, okay, a noun phrase, which is compounded by a determiner, the, a noun, which is bus, okay, and we have a prepositional phrase. And the prepositional phrase is compounded by a preposition and also another noun phrase, the yard. You can see it here. The yard is a noun phrase, so I have to draw the line here for the preposition and another line here for the NP, a noun phrase, which is compounded by a determiner, right? Determiner, the, and a noun, and the noun yard. And here we have the tree diagram for the noun phrase, the bus in the yard. This is more complex, of course, okay? More complex than this one here. Okay, but don't worry if you don't understand these diagrams now. We're going to practice. I'm going to give you some practices for you to draw different trees, okay? Here in this case we have a VP, which is a verb phrase, which is compounded by a verb, of course. It must have a verb. Then these two here are optional. A noun phrase is optional, and a prepositional phrase is optional too. In this case we have a sentence, which is compounded by a noun phrase, the auxiliary, and the verb phrase. Took the money. Took the money is what? Is a verb phrase. Why? Because we have a verb here. Took the money. What is the verb then? Took, okay? Took. Then we have a noun phrase here. The money is a noun phrase. Then I have to draw the line here. Noun phrase. And this noun phrase is compounded by a determiner. I have to write that here, which means determiner. Then I draw the line for the. Then we have a noun. What is the noun? Money. Money is the noun. So I draw it this way. Took the money. This is the diagram 3 for took the money, the verb phrase took the money. At this side, we have a more complex verb phrase. Okay, we have took the money from the bank. We have a verb phrase. This is a complete verb phrase, but this verb phrase is compounded by a prepositional phrase here, from the bank. So first, we have to draw it just like we did it in this case, okay? Took the money, we draw it this way, it's the same. But we have to add the prepositional phrase. So I have to draw another line here, verb phrase, another line here, PP, which means prepositional phrase. And this prepositional phrase is compounded by a preposition, which is the head of the prepositional phrase. From is the preposition. Then I have to draw another line for NP, which is the bank. The bank is a noun phrase. And this noun phrase is compounded by a determiner, the, and a noun, bank. So now you can see how we have drawn the trees for these verb phrases. If you practice more, I'm sure you will understand this topic if you practice and practice and practice. So I'm going to give you some practice for you to draw the different trees. I'm sure you will get it, okay? So see you on our next video. In our next video, I'm going to continue explaining more details about the different lexical categories, okay? So see you on our next video.